Hey yo, this is Pokio Design Pro. Welcome to this episode of ArchiCAD. In this episode, I'm going to show you how we draw the elevations and also how we do some edits on the presentation drawings and at the same time the working drawings. But specifically, we are going to go with the working drawings, but I'll show you how we do presentations for the elevations. But before we do that, please don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel for more educative tutorials, as it helps me also grow the channel, and then to turn on your notification for the daily updates. Yeah, we are going to draw our first elevation. So I'll come under viewpoint, I'll drop down, I look for the elevation tool. This is the elevation tool. I click on it once. Then these are the settings of the elevations. The first one is the single elevation line. Then the next one is the staggered method, whereby you break a single elevation line at some point. Then for the limits, we have the horizontal range limit. That one shows up to the infinite depth. Then the second one is the limited range, where you can customize where you want your elevation to reach. Here we can give the name and ID. Then when you scroll this side, here you can change the max size pen. Then here the max size, you can change it from here. Then the font style, you can change it from here. Then this one is just for the text. You can change the pen from here and also the font from there. If you want to make it bold, you can do the same. But let us go with the default settings. Yeah, I'll just want to show you simply how you can have those elevations. So we are going to have our first elevation cutting here and facing this side. So when you move your cursor up, it faces that side. Then when you move it down, that means the elevation will be facing down, but we want it to face up, to face our building. You click on this line. This is the limit I was telling you, because we are having our custom limit. If I remove it, then the elevation line will have to show everything behind, but I'll need to show this range limit. So I'll click on it, then I move it or I extend it up to here, so that covers my entire building. Yeah, then let me extend also this, maybe up to somewhere there. Then I Control T for the settings. I'm going to change the reference ID. I'm going to call it E1, representing elevation 1. E1. Then the name is going to be my front elevation. For now, I can say okay. Then further settings, we shall look at them when we're ready in the elevations. Then I'll come, simply right click on this elevation line, and I come to open with current view settings. So I'll click on open with current view settings. This is how our elevation looks like. So to start with, I can first change this layer combination from custom to 2D drafting. So I'll click that so that I can see the mesh exposed in my elevations. Next is for the settings. So I'll simply come, right click, then go to the elevation settings. Once I click on the elevation settings, you already have these other settings. So I'll come under model appearance. Basically, this is what we are going to look at under model appearance. When I drop under model appearance, I'm going to look at the cut elements. So here we have in the cut fill and also the uniform cut fill. So under the cut fill, you can simply come, you drop down. So when you drop down, we have uniform surface, color fill, non-shaded, then cut fill, non-shaded, surface, color fill, non-shaded, surface, color fill, shaded. So this is basically for the surfaces. So for the cut surface, we have the uniform surface, that is in case we have cut anything on our elevations, we have to view a uniform surface. So when you go with this first one and you say okay, you can see this is the cut surface. We cut our mesh, that's why it is having a uniform plane. So I'll come back, right click, go to elevation settings. So instead of having the uniform plane for the cut, maybe I can have the surface color fill, which is shaded. When I click on that, then I say okay, I'll have the fill like that, which is shaded. That is for the cut surface. That's why you're seeing we have no change on the house, because we have not cut anything on our house. We have only cut the mesh. Let me show you in our floor plan. So this is our floor plan and this is our mesh. So we have cut it. If we had cut maybe this side, it would show that cut surface. Yeah, so back to our elevations, I right click, come to elevation settings still, then under the uncut. So the uncut, basically that is what we are going to look at. Under uncut elements, uncut fill, so that is the uncut fill. You can use the uniform paint color, then the surface color fill, surface texture, non-shaded, then surface color fill, shaded, surface texture fill. So for this case, if in case we are doing for presentation, we need to put in some color, so we go with the color options. So for the first one, we can go with surface texture fill, non-shaded, but we need it shaded, so we shall go with the surface texture fill shaded, this last option. So once you click on that, it will show you the fill patterns and they are shaded. That's why you're seeing they are showing us the materials we used and also the materials for the roof. That is in case you're going to do the presentations. Then back to the elevation settings still. Once we are done with that, if you want it to be a uniform uncut pen, once you click on that, we are going to have our elevation having the same color. So for this case, our line pen is this gray. So when I click on OK, you'll see all our pens will change to gray. Then we can also look at something else. Come back to the elevation settings. Then we can look at other settings. So I'll right click, come to elevation settings. Next we have the transparency. So the transparency, if we tick it, that one helps us to see some things in the background, mostly where we're having our mirrors in the openings. Yeah, that is in the doors and windows, then curtain walls in case we have them. So when I uncheck it and I say okay, the things in the background will disappear. As you can see, we can't see the staircases, we can't see the furniture that we had. Right click again, elevation settings. When I tick it and I say okay, you're able to see what is in the background. You can see the staircases, you can see the door inside. That is in case you want to leave them. If you don't want them to be seen, you just simply come to elevation settings. Under transparency, you uncheck it. Yep. Then the next thing we can look at is the shadow. So I'm going to cast the shadow. I come, click on shadow, then I can say okay. So you find our elevation has the shadow. Right click, elevation settings. So for the shadows, you can adjust from here the sun azimuth. You can adjust the degree from here. Maybe let me say you've given it 15 and you say okay, you see it will change. So you basically play around with those settings from there. but we can leave 45. Let me change this, let me set to 15 also. Then in case you don't want to show these story lines or the level lines, you simply come back, right click, elevation settings, then under story levels, when you click under display stories, you drop down, then you're going to say none. So once you click on none and say okay, these levels will disappear, but in case you want to show them, you can leave them. Yeah, basically those are the settings in case you want to have your colored elevations for presentations where you're having also the textures, and maybe you want to add some shades. Yeah, that's basically how you can play around with your elevations. So let us now look at how we have the working drawings for the elevations. I'll come back, still right click under elevation settings. If I want to show my story levels, I just drop down, then I'll display only. So once I display only, I click there, my story levels will come back. Then under uncut elements, I'll come drop down under uncut fill. Once I drop down, I'm going to have, there is surface color fill non-shaded, surface texture fill non-shaded. So I'm going to go with surface texture fill non-shaded because we need also to have or to see the texture of our materials. So once I click on that and I say okay, then now when you look at our shades, we're having this hash, but we have to change it. I'll right click, come to elevation settings, then under the shadows, shadow fill, I'll change from here. We're having this common brick fill, so I'll drop down and I'll choose this 25%. I can go with this 25%. Then the color, I can change it from here. Maybe I can give it this lighter gray. Then when I apply, I say okay, you see our shadows, they have reduced to that. Then back to elevation settings, you can change that color still. If you cannot see it properly, then you have to drop down, give it some gray. Maybe let me give it this gray. I say okay, so we are able to see our shades. Now we need to remove all the colors so that we have a uniform pen for our working drawing. So right click again, back to elevation settings. I'll come under the uncut fill. We are going to have a uniform color surface. That is the first one. We shall go with the first option. Then under the uncut elements, the uncut fill, we are going also to have the uniform pen and color fill non-shaded. So once I click on that and say okay, we have our elevation looking like this. Then right click, come back to elevation settings. I always want to have my uncut pen to be the original ones from the settings, so I'll uncheck that, the uniform uncut pens. I'll uncheck that so that I have all elements in the original pens that we gave. Then right click, come to elevation settings. We need to see our fills and textures, let me say for the roof and all the stonework we added. So I'll come and click on surface cover fill foreground. I'll check it. Then when I say okay, I'm going to have the surfaces with their pattern. So here you can see the roof and this pattern. Then for the stonework we had, this is also their pattern. Yeah, basically I think those are the settings we needed to look at. Then in case you want to show your grid lines, you come here, you drop down, you show the grid lines. But on our floor plan, we don't have the grid lines there. The settings are also there. Then the story level symbol, you can change the symbols from here. You can show the mark head. Maybe when I click on show mark head, then I say okay, you can see the mark head has appeared If I don't want to show it, still I can do the same elevation settings. Then I don't want to show the story levels, I come, click on that, then I drop here, I say none, so my story levels will disappear. So I'll have my elevations like this, but we need to show them. So I'll do back, elevation settings, I'll display my levels, then say OK. I'll have my storylines showed in my elevations. Then maybe I can reduce a bit my mesh. I'll have a fill right here, so I'll come back under documents. I'm going to pick the fill and I'm going to go with the airspace or just background. Then for the fill pen foreground, I'll have it as white. Then the background, I'm going to have it as a negative, so I'll go with that. Then for the pen, I'm going to uncheck this, so I can have something like this to cover up my mesh up to down. So I have something like that. I want to move it a little bit up. Maybe I can move it up to, let me leave just 200 mm. So I have my elevation just like that. Now we need to save our elevations. I'll come right click here, come to save as view. So when I save as view, I'm going to save our elevation 2D drafting. I make sure all the settings are here. The scale is going to be like that, is going to display the entire model. So I'll simply come, I create. So I've saved my elevation. This helps me when I'm putting work on sheets. I'll come back to the ground floor. So I'm going to have another one elevation. Then for the rest, you do them by yourselves. So I'll come back to the elevation tool. I'll click on the elevation tool. Come cut my elevation this side and I face this way. So I'm having another elevation. So I'll come click on it, Ctrl T for the settings. Under general settings, I'm going to call this E2. E2. This is elevation 2 and it's going to be my side elevation. Then I say OK. So I'm going to open it, come right click on it, open with current view settings. I'll simply do that. Then this is our side elevation. For the settings, we are going to have the same settings. So I'll come back, elevation settings, under model appearance. So for the cut fill, remember we're having this as the uniform color, so we shall have that. Then the uncut, we shall come back here, we are going to have the uniform pen color, non-shaded. We'll go with that. Then under the surface cover fill, the foreground, we are going to show it. The transparency, you can uncheck it if you don't want to show. Then for the sun, we can leave the shadows to be at 45. I'm going to just tick on shadows, I cast it. Then for the fill, I'm going to go with this 25%. Then I can change the fill color maybe to this gray. Yeah, basically that is it. Then I'll say OK. We have our elevation like this. Then next I can just also change this fill here, so that does not cover the entire foundation. Here you can move your elevation line. Let me say move it up to there, so it will move, and also on the floor plan it will get moved. So I'll come under fill. Yeah, I'm going to use these same settings. Simply come have my view like that. I can move around with it, adjust. I offset the edge up somewhere there. Now move it down, Control D, maybe by 200. So I have our elevation like this. This is what we had for this episode, and for other elevations you're going to do the same. You come draw these elevation lines this side and also this side. When you want to have presentation drawings, you need to show the color and texture of your elevations. I have showed you how we do those settings. Then when you want just the working drawings where you don't need the colors, you basically use these settings for that. Yeah, so thank you for watching this episode, and I hope you learned something. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel for more tutorials, and also to turn on your notification for the daily updates. Thank you. Stay blessed.